What are you supposed to do when your wood is green? This is probably one of the most frustrating things to deal with when you're cooking in the backyard or any smoker for that matter. You're just trying to get it set so you can get your cook going, because if you're cooking barbecue, most likely it's going to be a couple hours and you don't want to lose time just because, your wood isn't really catching. So I thought it'd be a good idea to make a quick video on this just because that's what I'm dealing with at the moment. Mistake number one with dealing with green wood is not starting off with enough coals. So right now it's probably been like an hour or so since I built that fire. And I built the fire like I normally do. I started with coals, with a chimney, and then I threw some logs on top of it. But when you're doing something like that, and that was a mistake that I think I made initially, is that I didn't use enough coals in the beginning. When you're dealing with green wood, the most important thing that you want to do is get a really, really nice coal bed. So if that means that you're gonna have to use more coals just to start the fire, just do it. It just makes it so much easier that you have at least heat going on in the pit itself right there. So at least you can get your temp up to a certain level, and then the wood that you're throwing on top of there can slowly catch over time. Mistake number two is not putting enough green wood in there. Now it may sound counterintuitive for you to put more green wood into your smoker just because, well, it's not catching, so why would I put more in there? The reason why you want to put more wood in there is because eventually when one log that's green starts to catch, you want another log sitting next to it or on top of it to help it kind of stay lit. And obviously before you get to that part, you're going to have enough coals in there to even start to add more pieces. But just think about like if you're at a campfire or something like that, and you have all this wood that's been rained on, you're trying to build a nice fire for the night. You can't just take one or two logs and just kind of moving it around, because eventually all you're going to end up doing is having to roll that log over and over and over again to where it kind of catches, and then it starts smoking again, and then you move it to a different spot, it catches, and it starts smoking again. Like, you're gonna have to do that over and over again, and this is the same thing in your smoker. Once you find a concentrated spot where maybe there's a little more heat collection, you want to start building your fire around that central point and have all that green wood start to be lit from that point on. Mistake number three for cooking with green wood, it's waiting too late to add on that next log. Let's say now you got this fire going. I think people will be pretty alarmed to see how many logs I throw into this pit. I'll just show you real quickly. Kind of hard to see everything, but I got one here, one in the back, I got these two, I got this one, and another piece in there. I have 7 pieces of wood in here. And the coals aren't that much, but I've been trying to keep this thing alive for a really, really long time. Let's check the temp. That's where it's sitting at. You have to make sure you feed that fire earlier than you think you need to. What I mean by that is, if you're cooking with nicely seasoned wood, you can kind of go back. Let's say the fire dips a little bit, then you have something that's nicely seasoned, you can throw it on there. It'll catch pretty quickly, and then it'll even out to the temp that you're looking for. But let's say we're trying to maintain a 250 temp, and that temp drops to 225. Most likely, it's gonna take you a lot longer to bring that temp back to 250, and also you're probably going to have to babying that fire for a little bit, because instead of adding one log on there, you'll probably have to add 2 or 3, and then find the right central spot of where that heat is located again to rebuild that fire. When you throw a green log on top, it needs a lot of heat for it to start really expelling that moisture and start to actually contribute heat to the actual fire itself. So let's say you even have like 4 or 5 logs on there and it's sitting at 250, and you feel like in like 15 to 20 minutes from now that it's going to need a little bump in heat, put it on at that time. Because if you wait those 15 or 20 minutes, the base logs in the bottom might break, and it'll add to the coals, and that'll be great, but then you might not have enough rolling heat from like flames actually burning, not just coals, to help light that big green log that you put on top of there. So when you're cooking with green logs, you have to be super proactive with it. Mistake number 4, not giving your fire enough oxygen. It's gonna need a lot more oxygen to start getting those green logs lit. If I were you, until those logs start lighting up, don't close your firebox door. Let it build up first, let it naturally just catch and start to roll on its own. Then you can slowly close on that door to sustain that temp. If I have any additional tips for cooking with green wood, I'll make sure to add another video to this channel. But if you're cooking with green wood right now, just follow those 3 tips and you should be fine for your next cook. I'll see you guys in the next one.